extremism, and all of a sudden, schizophrenically, the entire country opens up. And I write about this in great length in the book, and I don't want to go into greater detail because I know we have limited time. But this is what I'm saying, that when you connect with the whisper in your heart, you know what Iqbal said isn't just about, you following your own passion and becoming a musician. This is a metaphor for finding out your true purpose in life. You know, out of which all other purposes connect with each other. These are vibrations, sound vibrations, but they have real meaning. And I've seen this confluence of facts coming together so many times in my life, as you read in the book, that, I'm here now, that's why I wrote the book, and I'm here in London for the same reason, speaking to young people, speaking to anyone that I can to say, look, these are transformational times that we live in. There are communication breakdowns between cultures. But if we listen to the whisper in our heart and open, we're open, the heart allows you to see. And when you see with the heart, all the masks fall down. Then there's in the room, which is darkened, somebody thinks there's a snake in the corner. The light comes on, it's an old piece of rope. So the fear goes away. And when the fear goes away, people are able to make their judgments free of fear. And I think what's happening in the world is that whether it's warmongers, fanatics, politicians, extremists, their aim is to create so much fear and anarchy that people can't see. So they're always scared to make decisions. And when we make decisions out of fear, you know what happens? George Bush. So it's again, I say, listen to the whisper in your heart. It might not have wings, but it has the power to fly. Thank you.
Thank you. Some wonderful stories and music. And some, really pertinent points. I'm sure there's lots of questions, so we'll get straight down to them. Who'd like to start off? Okay, the gentleman here in the red.
I speak as a medical student myself and also a musician. I play guitar and drums. Don't you think that, although what you're saying with regards to cultural communication and music being a tool for that, don't you think that music, although that's what you're saying is very true, it only addresses things at a superficial level and only for a short period of time? Because as you said, you had that concert in New York City, and following on from that, we had this Roll Jihad guy who ruined everything for you, and to a much greater scale. So don't you think all of these type of interactions that arts and culture are only short-term, bridges? What we need to do is we need to address things at a much deeper level, at a longer-term level. And just following on from that, I personally believe that the solution needs to come from the Muslim countries rectifying themselves, as opposed to sort of going around and trying to manage cultures more than anything else. So I don't know what your comments are on that.
Okay, so what's your name?
Amar.
So Mark, great question. It's a question that's asked so many times. How important is art, music? That's just entertainment. So what can entertainment do? You can sort of sing a song, and so what? Has it changed anything? But last night I had the great opportunity of visiting Minhaj al-Quran. I was there for a Sufi zikr, and one of the qaris, the ulama there, I asked him the same question. I said, all my career, as I addressed in the book, so always sort of being confronted with this other question. Yeah, you might be a musician, but you're not really doing anything. It's superficial. It doesn't change anything. And as a Muslim, shouldn't you really be sort of looking at digging more deeper? So he said something really interesting. He said, look, in the entire universe, there's melody and there's rhythm. In fact, the revelation Wahi that came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he spoke of how he received Wahi, he would say that it's like the ringing of bells. It's the ringing of bells. You know, so the entire Quranic revelation that came channeled through Prophet Muhammad, came through like the ringing of bells. And he said that why would the divine use musical sound to send the most important message for the entire Muslim community, right? And you'll hear I'll tell you my views as well, but I'm telling you views of scholars, okay? If you read Ibn al-Ghazali, Imam al-Ghazali and Ibn al-Arabi, they've all written like narratives on music, the power of music, right? So music can be used in a superficial way, right? Music can be used in a superficial way, but the power of music is what Iqbal says, Dil se jo baat nikalti hai, asar rakhti hai. It may not have wings, but it has the power to fly. But if you use music to bring peace, to raise people's spirits, to uplift society, you know, I mean, I'll give you an example. Like in the beginning, when we started playing music, when I was just graduated, most of our concerts were, you know, building, raising funds for cancer hospitals. You know, because Pakistan is a poor country, it was a way to bring people together. The music was a way to bring people together, focus their attentions on issues that were faced by us. I mean, you've seen, you know, Live Aid and you know, it's been done extremely well, right from the concert for Bangladesh to the power of music is what it can be is to bring people from different cultures together, focus them on the need, you know, society's need. But you can also use like anything else. You can use the computer to play video games, right? But you can also use the computer to communicate great ideas. So music is not superficial. It's the use of it that can be, or the one thing. The other argument that I use in the book is that people have, some so-called religious people have used music as a way to create guilt in Muslim culture. All through my career, you know, and you'll see that, you know, in the book and the documentary that I've done, they'll say, "Theek hai, lekin haram," you know, prohibited. So how do you feel when you're growing up when you say, okay, all this earning that I'm earning and all that I've worked hard for is prohibited, it's haram. And if you hear enough choruses who keep brainwashing you, haram, 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 you feel that, you know, somehow, you know, you're doing something wrong. And many, many, many millions of young people in the Muslim world have been fed that guilt. No one's told them. Very few. There's very few scholars who have you know, written or spoken about the power of music. Why? Because they fear losing their own control. I did a documentary called The Rockstar of the Mullahs. I went up to Peshawar and I spoke with a scholar there called Maulana Bijli. Bijli Ghar. Maulana Electricity, because of his fire and brimstone sermons. So for 2.5 hours, he ridiculed me. You know, he ridiculed my ponytail, he ridiculed my guitar, he ridiculed my sandals, and he said, "Guna milega, guna milega, guna milega," that everything is sinful about you. Okay, so I listened, but each time I would counter his ridicule with theological argument. I said, there's nothing in the Quran, not one thing in the Quran which says music is haram, okay? And the hadiths that people bring, there's great the contradictions in the hadiths. So how come you're so certain? How come you're so certain that this is haram, right? So 2.5 hours, he wouldn't answer the question, he would just ridicule me. Finally, you know, the cameras, you know, we figured this is the end of the interview. And before we turned off the cameras, he said, "No, I think you're angry with me." And I looked at him and I said, okay, why should I be angry? I'm the one who came with the question. I'm the journalist here. So he said, "No, no. When you go to England, when you go to London, I want you to sing this." And here's a guy who's been arguing against music, singing for 2.5 hours. He said, "I want you to sing this." And I said, "Okay, sing what?" And as you saw, that actually this documentary is on YouTube.